Rosa Parks, named the mother of the modern day civil rights movement. Rosa was an African American woman born in Tuskegee, Alabama in February 1913, just over 100 years ago. She is best known for her stand against racial segregation on a public bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Rosa, after a very hard day's work, refused to give up her seat to a white man and was arrested. She was charged with and convicted of civil disobedience. Her action took place on December 1st, 1955, and eventually earned her the title Mother of the Movement. I'll say that again, Mother of the Movement, for her act of personal courage. This courage, one woman's courage, sparked the civil rights movement of 1950s. Extra, 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 extra. Read all about it. Washington, D.C., Wednesday, February 27th, 2013, just a few weeks ago. The nation's most powerful politicians honored Rosa Parks for unveiling her statue in a very prominent place in our United States Capitol. President Obama said, and he said it with great emphasis, "We do well by placing a statue of her here, but we can do no greater honor to her memory than to carry forward the power of her principle and a courage born of great conviction." So significant and so inspiring was her peaceful act of defiance that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. inscribed the following words on the frontispiece of his book, which he entitled "Stride Toward Freedom." He gave a copy of this book to Rosa, and she was so excited. And inside the book cover, he wrote, "To Rosa Parks, whose creative witness was the great force that led to the modern strive toward freedom." Rosa was so determined to make a difference in the lives of our people that she spent most of her life fighting for desegregation. She fought for voting rights, and she was active in the civil rights movement that has shaped the social code in this United States of America until this very day, folks, March 10th, 2013. No matter in what city Rosa lived, she found a way. She found a way, no matter what, to get herself involved in the community. And she always seemed to have a way to voice her thoughts and her feelings about all of the inequalities of society, because it was so significant to her. Rosa had a knack. She had a knack for doing things effectively, even though she had a very quiet demeanor and was known for her simplistic but famous saying, and that saying lives with us today. She said, "Do what is right." Again, do what is right. Throughout the history of our great nation, we have glorified various heroes. Most frequently, these heroes are presidents, military figures, and yes, you know how much credit we give to athletes. But we must not forget our heroes who possibly had a lesser significance, but yet are very conspicuous for everything that they did. Take a look at Rosa one more time. She worked in a low-level job. She was not the tailor. She was the tailor's assistant. She worked in a men's clothing store. But with all of her effort, she rose to be the secretary of the Montgomery NAACP. And Rosa was the impetus and the powerful force to a major social movement. Rosa lived a long life, and within the span of her 92 years, she has been actively praised by the most influential leaders in Black American history. She has been presented with numerous awards because she was determined to forge forward in a time when social inequality was rampant. Late in her life, Mrs. Parks said, "Racism is still with us, but it is up to us to prepare our children for what they have to meet, and hopefully, someday, we shall totally overcome." America's proud heritage and the accomplishments of its people have been and continue to be darkened by much racial discrimination. This blight in our country takes many forms. Sometimes racism is subtle. Sometimes it's overt, as we see in the cowardly acts of intimidation and violence. If each one of us put ourselves in the places of those people who have been intimidated and violated, then I think we would better understand the pain, the horrible pain by others who have been racially discriminated against. Rosa wrote a book. Rosa entitled the book Rosa Parks, My Story. There are a lot of things there, a lot of very interesting things, a lot of things that could help all of us regardless of our race. But she concluded with these words: I look back now and realize that since that evening on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama, we have made a great deal of changes. All those laws against segregation have been passed, and all that progress has been made. Dr. King used to talk about the fact that if a law was changed, it may not change the hearts, but it would offer some protection. He was right. We now have some protection. The hearts of some citizens have changed, and I know that you have seen that too. Some of the older generations have passed on, and the younger generations have come on the scene. It's 2013. We have come so far. We have come so far. But we still have a long way to go. Rosa Parks said, "My own experiences and the changes I have lived to see in this world have taught me that we must do what is right and not harm one another." She also said, and I think that this is very significant, "I am deeply disturbed to see so many young people who are not being taught that every person's life is meaningful. Life should not be taken for granted." Even though Rosa made this statement over 20 years ago, think about where we are now. It applies to the violence. It applies to the killings that are happening in this country by young people every single day. So sad. So sad. Until her death, Rosa continued her commitment to civil rights. Rosa was willing to serve as a symbol of the great civil rights struggle. Mrs. Rosa Parks died on October 24th, 2005, at her Detroit home of natural causes. She was 92 years old. But what a life. But what a significant life. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. The Lord, oh yes, the Lord will see us through. The Lord will see us through. The Lord will see us through someday. Oh, 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 deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.